Hey everybody, and welcome to the presentation. My name is Trevor, and I'm going to be your host tonight. We are talking about something called Google AdSense. And so this is going to be, since it is our first time in this webinar series talking about this will be kind of like our Google AdSense 101. And so I won't get into lots of detail on it, but I'm going to give you enough to where you can walk away from this and say, okay, I know what Google AdSense is. I know how to set up an account. I know when I should set up an account, and I know how it's going to help me make money online. Those are at least the answers I want you to walk away from this webinar having. We'll get into maybe some of the more nitty-gritty technical details of using Google AdSense in subsequent webinars. Okay. So first of all, and this is the grand question: what is Google AdSense? Now, some of you guys mentioned that you kind of know what it is. What's Google AdSense? To some of you guys who are here live with me, I'm curious to hear what you think it is, or if you have any experience with it. Share it with the rest of us, and then I'll add to and clarify. It's obviously a Google system, right? And when I say AdSense, it's A-D-S-E-N-S-E, Google AdSense. Okay, Kirk, let me read off your comment. You say it's called linking ads from other companies to your site. Yeah, I mean, that's pretty accurate. I'll clarify that a bit more because that sounds a little confusing. But ads that link in, sure. Robert J., you put ads on your site. If people click, you get money. Yeah. You're basically, it's exactly right. You have ads that automatically appear, and that's the key part about AdSense. These ads automatically show up. You're not hunting for partnerships or hunting for companies that want to advertise on your website. They automatically show up, which is the genius behind this system. Because if you've ever had an affiliate website or a blog and you've been searching for partners to partner up with so you can make money, that can sometimes be challenging. AdSense fixes that because the partners automatically come to you. It's pretty cool. And you make money off of just a simple click. Okay, and that's the genius behind it too. It doesn't matter if somebody clicks on my ad and doesn't buy from my partner. I don't care what they do. As long as they click on the ad, I'm going to get paid off of that. Okay. Now this whole system, guys, stems from something called Google AdWords. Okay. Do any of you guys know what Google AdWords is? Have you heard of Google AdWords? It's a pretty popular system. In fact, it's one of the reasons why Google is a multi-billion-dollar company. They bring in tons and tons and tons of money from their Google AdWords system. Let me show you what it is. If I go to Google, for example, like virtually everybody in the world, right, when you want to do a search, and I type in something that I'm searching for, I'm going to look for, somebody give me an example. Give me a keyword search. Something that you typed in looking for, product-based, of course. You know, some sort of a product that you're looking for. Something you look for today. Give me an example. All right. Shoes, Robert. What kind of shoes? Give me something more specific. You're looking for, let's say, a running shoe, right? Okay, let's do this. Let's say we're looking for a women's running shoe, okay? And I do a search. Let me zoom in so we're all seeing this a little bit better. Women's running shoe, okay? All right, so when you do a search in Google, you see different types of ads that pop up. These right here at the very top, these are paid ads, okay? So for example, you see the top ad right here. This is Nike.com. They're ranking #1 in Google because they're paying to rank #1 in Google. And if I were selling women's shoes on a website right now, I could rank right there on top of Nike if I wanted to. It would just be very expensive. Okay. Same with these guys right here. Roadrunner Sports, they're paying for this spot, this #2 spot. Zappos, they're paying for this #3 spot. Now, just below that, guys, I know they're paying for it because I see this little ad next to it. You see that? See how it says ad in yellow? That means they're paying to be there. Now, there's more down the right-hand side of the screen. Here's more ads down here. These are paid for ads. Okay, these ads are generated because Nike and Roadrunner Sports and Zappos, they have an account with Google AdWords, and they're basically saying to Google, anybody who types in women's running shoe, we're willing to pay X amount of dollars or cents for a click. And they put a bid in, okay? And whoever has the highest bid tends to rank the highest. Now, that's not the only thing, but let's say Nike says that they're willing to pay $1.25 for the click, and maybe Zappos was willing to pay 85 cents for the click, and then maybe this Roadrunner Sports was willing to pay 95 cents for the click. They're usually ranked roughly in order of how much they're willing to pay, which should make sense, right, guys? Because Google's going to want to show the one where they're getting paid the most to be at the top. So although I don't know what it is, I would imagine it's in the realm of $2, $3, $4 per click up here for Nike to get this click, which is crazy, right? In fact, if I click on it right now, boom, it probably just charged Nike $2 or $3. Maybe not quite that much, maybe more like $1.50, $2, but I'll bet it's somewhere in that region. Okay. Now, guys, tell me this: why in the world would Nike be willing to pay that much for a click? I mean, let's say it is actually $2 for that click. In theory, if Nike gets 10 clicks on that, right? That's $20 just for 10 visitors to the site, isn't it? We're speaking hypothetically. It could be more than that. It could be $3.50 a click, right? Then they're paying what, $35 for that for 10 visitors? Well, think about it this way, right? Let's say Nike, although for that 10 visitors it costs them $35. Let's say 4 people bought from their site, right? They're most likely making up for that advertising revenue in sales dollars, right? I mean, that's simple marketing. Nike is willing to pay $1 in advertising for $2 in revenue, right? If they can make it up in revenue, then they're going to do it all day long. So I don't know how much it's costing them, but what I can tell you for sure is that it's costing Nike more than it's costing these other companies that are ranking lower. Okay. Now here's what's interesting. When Nike chooses to advertise through Google, they can choose to agree to have this ad, basically the same exact ad or something very similar to it, appear on other partner websites of Google. And that's where we come in, okay? Because if you own, let's pretend for a minute I own a blog that is all about women's athletics and women's shoes, and I blog about it, I've got a website about it. Well, I can partner with Google AdSense, okay? Which is Google's advertising network. And what I do is I grab some HTML code from my Google AdSense account, and I'll show you this to you guys here in just a second, and I paste that code on my website. And what Google does is they then study the keywords and the text on my website, and it won't take Google long to figure out that my website is about women's shoes. Well, so then what's going to happen is Google's going to say, oh, okay, we've got several advertisers, including Nike, Roadrunner Sports, Zappos, etc., who want clicks from a website that's about women's shoes because they're selling women's shoes. Therefore, those ads are going to start to automatically generate and populate on my site. And then as those ads show up, if somebody clicks, I'm going to get a portion of that revenue. So let's pretend for a second that the cost per click for Nike is $2, okay? That's what they're willing to pay Google. Well, Google advertises their advertisement on my website. I'm going to qualify for a part of that $2. Google's going to take a part, and I'm going to take a part. And I don't know what that percentage will be. I may make 65 cents, and Google may make the rest. They may make the $1.35 out of that $2. But they share in that revenue with me because it happened on my site. Somebody clicked on the ad. I'm going to get paid that 65 cents. Google will get paid the difference. Does that kind of make sense, guys, how that works? I'll give you more examples here in a sec. But I want you to understand from start to finish how it works. Don't make me bring out the whiteboard. I'm going to have to bring out the whiteboard. I know some of you guys are shuddering. Trevor, don't draw anything, please. Spare us, right? Well, this might actually help. Okay, so we've got Nike right here, okay? This is Nike as a company. And Nike, and this will just kind of be like a flow chart, right? Nike wants to advertise with Google. So they're going to set up a Google AdWords account, okay? And by the way, you guys can set up Google AdWords accounts too. We haven't really discussed that in our marketing. But you could set that up too, right? And we said that in this case, Nike wants to rank for the keyword phrase women's, I should have drawn this out before, guys. I apologize. Women's running shoes, right? Okay, so they're trying to rank on the first page. So Nike's paying Google AdWords a certain amount, right? And let's say we said that amount is $2, right? And if they're paying $2 for what, guys? If I make a bid on this keyword phrase, women's running shoes, if I'm Nike and I make that bid on women's running shoes and I'm willing to bid $2, that's $2 for what? Per click, right? Okay. So if this were you, by the way, if you've got a website and you're selling whatever it is, some sort of a widget, you can do the same thing. You could go set up with Google AdWords and you could tell Google how much you're willing to pay for a click. And you know, you don't have to pay $2. You could offer 10 cents for the click. Now you may not rank very high for that 10-cent bid, but you might. I mean, it's a good way to get traffic. We're not going to talk about that in terms of you guys right now. Well, let's think in terms of Nike, okay? So they're willing to pay $2 a click. Well, that $2 a click, and I'm gonna bring this over here. That means they're going to show up in a couple of different spots. Number one, they're going to show up in Google itself, right? In the search results page, and that's what we were just looking at right here. Nike shows up right here, number one for that. And then number two, they're going to show up on related sites. And that's where we come in. That's where you guys can make money off of this. Okay, related sites. That could be any website out there, but preferably it's going to be a site that's going to be about this topic, about running and athletics, and more specifically, maybe women's athletics and women's running, right? That's where Nike wants to have their ads show up. Once Google has this $2 bid, Google's going to go out there and start displaying this ad on all these different websites that are out there. Okay? Now, by the way, we've already talked about this, but pop quiz, guys. How does Google know which of these websites to display? Or I'm sorry, let me ask a better question. That was confusing. How does Google know which websites it should publish this ad for Nike? I can't decide if that question is good or not. I ask it and I'm like, that sounds a little confusing. Yeah, it's there. So definitely, I agree, Robert. It's the spider, right? It's their technology, their spider technology. Well, and we've talked about that before, right? Google, they call it Googlebot, right? It's Google's little spider technology here. Here's my spider again. Okay, that's their technology that goes out and it crawls these websites and it figures out what these websites are about. So if this website is about, let's say this is about tools, okay, let's say this one is about furniture, and then let's say this website's about athletics, right? Well, with this ad, Google knows that Nike doesn't want it on a tool site, so that gets crossed off the list. That gets crossed off the list. This athletic site, though, if they've installed, and here's the kicker, right? This is where we come in, right here. Okay? If this is us and we're looking to make money online, what we do is we go up and we set up this Google AdSense account. And let's say we're the owners of this athletic site. Well, we take our AdSense account, we get a little bit of HTML code, right? And I'll show you guys this here in just a second. You get that HTML code and you install it onto your website. So then your website starts to populate all sorts of different banner ads, right? And based on the content of this page, since Google spidered it, they're going to say, okay, this page right here is about athletics. So I'm going to make sure that the only ads I display are going to be athletic ads, and so therefore this Nike ad then populates and shows up onto my athletic site, right? Okay, well great, so it popped up, I've got these, and automatically, right, if I'm the owner of this athletic site, I'm not choosing the ads, Google chooses those ads for me, which is fantastic, like I said earlier, because then what I can do as a website owner is I can concentrate on creating really great content. Great information. I can be writing articles about women's shoes and women's athletics and tips for running and stretching and whatever, preparing for a marathon. And I'm creating all this great content on my athletic site, and Google's automatically displaying those ads for me. It's a pretty sweet deal. You concentrate on what you're good at, let Google provide you the advertisements. Okay? And then I market my website, right? I market this, I try to get it to rank high, and then when people click on that ad, and we said roughly $2, maybe Google's willing to pay, 65 cents, right? We don't get to choose this number. Google chooses it for us, of course. And so I may make 65 cents a click on each one of these. Now what's crazy is for given niches, the clicks can be worth a lot more. Think about it for a second. Think if you were a law office, okay? Let's say that was your business. You're a lawyer, and you're trying to get victims for some sort of medical malpractice. You're trying to find victims that, for whatever reason, they've run into some trouble because of some sort of medical malpractice, right? And so when that person does a search in Google, you want your advertisement for your law firm to show up because that person could potentially mean hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars for you in a lawsuit if you win. So that lead, that person is worth a lot of money. Well, there's companies out there, guys, that are willing to pay $40, $50, $60, $70 per click, if you can imagine. So for certain keyword searches, 60, 70, 80 bucks. Can you imagine per click they're willing to pay that much just to get somebody as a potential lead to take on a case? Well, geez, can you imagine, like, if you had some advertisements for those companies on your displaying on your site per click, you could be bringing in 30, 40 bucks. I mean, that would be crazy. But that's the thing. That's what varies the amount. Nike puts a dollar limit. I mean, they're only selling a $65 pair of shoes. They're only willing to pay a couple of bucks for a potential customer. Other companies are willing to pay more or less. That's what determines ultimately what you guys make off of the click, if that makes sense, okay? All right. Now, we'll clarify this. So, Robin, I see your guys' question. You said, how about if there's 1,000 other people doing the same thing? Doing what specifically, guys? Doing AdSense or doing the Google AdWords? You said, wouldn't they be your competition if they were selling the same thing? Yeah, clarify that question a little bit so I can understand that a bit better. Okay, guys, questions so far about how this system works? Do you understand just at least how the money flow works on this? The company to Google AdWords, bidding on certain searches, putting a price tag on it, and then us having websites related to that, installing the code, and then getting paid on the clicks, right? Okay, good. Okay, so Cindy just asked a question. Do you have to have a website to do this? You really do. You need a website. Well, you either need a website or you need to have some sort of content you're generating. Usually, people make money off of AdSense either via a website or via YouTube. If you're creating videos on YouTube, you can hook up an advertising network like AdSense to it. And if you guys have ever watched a YouTube video, when the advertisements come up, that's usually connected in with some sort of advertising network. But for this, for the most part, yes, you're going to want to have a website to do it for sure, Cindy. Generally speaking, we like you to have a blog. Because think about it for just a second. Let's say you own a site that sells women's shoes. Like you're actually physically selling women's shoes on your site. Do I want to put affiliate ads on that website? Probably not. I don't want to send people away from my site. But if I've got a blog associated with women's shoes connected to my site, absolutely I'll do some affiliate advertising and do some Google AdSense there. And to answer your question, Sue, not to give away specifically your niche, but Sue's got a very specific niche that she's doing. There are ads for everything. Seriously. It doesn't matter the topic of your site. Google is going to find advertisements that are going to fit and that are going to work. So no matter what you're doing, you can make money off AdSense. Okay, I had somebody one year. They were big into traveling, and this was years and years ago, so I don't feel bad telling you guys about this. Years and years and years ago. I haven't seen this person for 8, 9, 10 years. Anyway, they got the idea when I taught them about AdSense. They said, okay, what if I created an informational site that just because he was a big traveler, did a lot of cruises and stuff, traveled the world, you know, through Carnival and Royal Caribbean and some of the major cruise lines. So he created a website that just was a blog that had information about tips and tricks on how to choose a cruise. That was it. That was his blog. And you know, it was a good blog. It had good content. Traffic was coming to the site. We installed AdSense, and he started to make a bunch of money. His clicks were pretty valuable because I guess Carnival and some of these big cruise lines are willing to pay pretty good money for a click because I guess they convert a lot of their clicks into $600, $700, $800 cruises. And so for them, since their product or service that they're trying to sell isn't a $65 pair of shoes, it's an $800 cruise ticket, or maybe for a family of 6, you know, it's a you know, it's a $4,000 thing, whatever it is, they're willing to spend pretty good money on those clicks. And so he was making a ton of money off of his clicks. All he did was create a simple blog giving tips and tricks on traveling on cruises. It was crazy. But that's the idea. Like, you can do this on a very simple blog that you're able to create some content for. Couple other questions that I'm seeing, and then I've got a couple other things I'll share about this. I'll show you an example, and then we'll finish up. Susan, you say, will this work if I want to direct someone to a product to take care of the products I am selling? Yes, that would work. Yep, like a complementary product, you mean, Susan? Because it very well could, yeah. Catherine says, so it's better to have this on our blogs, but not directly on our e-commerce site. Yes. And again, here's why. If I'm selling a $65 pair of shoes on my website, my profit margin on a sale might be $20. But if I have AdSense on that site and I direct them off to some other website, because AdSense is advertising my potential competitors, for the click, I may only make 45 cents. So there's no way I would want to do AdSense on my main e-commerce site, but I might do it on a satellite site that's related to me, like my blog, right? Or you could even set up an altogether different site that's not related to any of it that you can do AdSense on. That's up to you. But you hit it right on the head, Catherine. That's exactly right. Sorry, I'm just reading through questions here. Yeah, but Robin, you guys won't, I mean, you're not going to do AdSense on your e-commerce website. You're going to do it on your blog, so you're not, like, we don't want any competing companies showing up on your site. So you would never actually do AdSense on your own site. You would push that out onto a blog. And then if it's on your blog, then anything goes. That's fine. Like, you can advertise all sorts of different companies on your blog. You just wouldn't want to advertise it right there on your main site. I might have to clarify that a little bit better when we talk, but hopefully that makes sense. No, it doesn't make a difference, Catherine, because think about it. The whole purpose of your blog, I mean, there's lots of purposes of the blog, but suffice it to say, you know, you're trying to send your site traffic from your blog, but you're also just trying to make money off of having good content that's related to your niche. And sometimes the best way to make money off of good content is for AdSense. I mean, that's what this was built for. For all those people out there that have a website that doesn't necessarily sell a product but has great information and is really popular, this is how you're making money. The comparison I always make is a really popular TV show. How do they make money? They don't make money on selling a product. They make money because advertisers are advertising during breaks on the TV show, right? So they take a split of that. And you're using Google AdSense as a way to take a split too, off of having really good information. And this is kind of like affiliate marketing, Catherine. This is very similar. But yes, this is something you would do on blogs as well. Okay, so Rob, can I share what your site is? This site you just mentioned that you have. I don't want to say it unless you're comfortable with it. I like to be careful about what my client sites are about. Yeah, okay, Rob doesn't mind. So Rob has a computer repair site. Okay. Now on your site, Rob, your computer repair site, do you offer a service, or is it a service-based site? You offer a service to repair computers? Do you sell products? Tell us a little bit more about the site, because this would be a good example of maybe a site we would put AdSense on. Jessica, that's a good question. If you don't have a specific niche or topic for your blog, can you still do AdSense? Yes, you can. Because each individual blog post most likely has a topic. Like, let's say you have a blog where you blog about anything and everything. You know, there's people that have travel blogs where they talk about places they go and their family and their friends and their activities. Well, let's say you post one day about your travels to New York City, right? And you're just talking about what you did while you were in New York City. Well, if you put AdSense on that specific blog post, Google would find advertisers that want advertising about New York City, and you would get New York City advertisements that would show up on that specific post. Whereas if you wrote about your travels to Orlando, Florida, and Disney World, you would get Disney advertisements that would show up on that blog post. So it's not that your site has to be one specific topic. Google will still find a way to make sure that they're showing relevant ads. Although if you are going to do this, it's better if you have one specific topic for sure. Yeah, so Alan's got a, can I tell what your business is, Alan? I don't want to say, although not too many of my clients live out near you, so it's probably not a big deal. But let me just make sure you're okay with me telling what it is. But yes, you could do AdSense off of yours, Alan, no doubt. Yeah, so Rob's Computer Repair is a service-based company. So let's say on your site, Rob, and this is what I would do, I would have a couple of pages of my site that had some good information about computer repair. Like maybe let's say you have a page that says, you know, maybe the topic is the top 5 ways to keep your computer safe from a virus, okay? Maybe you write a little tips and tricks article about that. Then you would install some AdSense on that page, and then you would automatically have those ads populate, and you could make money off of that for sure. And Susan, no, it doesn't cost to have an AdSense account. That doesn't cost anything at all. Jessica says, yeah, because I have a blog page and I have a photography page. I can have one site post what I'm talking about with the photography that shows photography related things. Yeah, like if you have a page that talks about specifically photography related things, like we showed just a minute ago, Google knows that, and they're going to find advertisers to fit that content. And so you'll have photography related advertisements show up. That's what should happen. Okay, let me show you an example. This is going a little longer than I wanted, but you guys have had a lot of good questions, so let me show you an example here. So this is one of my sites right here. This is called Financial Nut, okay? I think I've showed this to you guys before, financialnut.com. And it's a blog about financial or finance-related things, okay? Now, you would think, here's my Google AdSense, or here's one of my Google AdSense banners right here. This whole spot right here, this whole top rectangular spot is for AdSense. Now, sometimes it shows up as a big like banner picture. Other times it doesn't. Sometimes it'll show just some small ads. I'll show you different examples here in just a second. But you might say to yourself, now wait a minute, if your site is about finance, why is this showing Google advertising? Attract more visitors to your site. Sign up for Google AdWords today. Guys, why would it be showing an ad about Google AdWords right now when my site is about finance? And to answer your question, yes, Susan. While designing your blog, you're going to want to have spots to put in your AdSense. Let me just tell you. So here's the other cool part about AdSense. Google knows what sites I've been visiting recently. A few minutes ago, I was on Google AdWords. And because I was on Google AdWords, and they know I'm interested in that, I was on there, I was looking at it, Google knows that they should probably advertise that to me. Okay, if I were on and I was on a site the other day, I was buying some new golf shoes, and I was shopping around online for golf shoes. Well, for about the next week, whatever website I was on, these golf shoes advertisements were showing up a whole bunch. That's because Google knew that I'd visited some sites looking at golf shoes. So even on a place like Financial Nut, a golf shoe advertisement might come up, and which is really cool, right? Because if I've got a visitor that Google knows about, and they were looking for golf shoes, and they might be on my finance site, but it shows up a golf shoe advertisement, there's a good chance that they click on that, even though it's a finance site, and I would get paid on that. So if you see some unrelated ads, a lot of times it's because you or your visitors have been looking at certain sites, and those certain advertisements are going to start showing up on your own. So it's all exactly right, Rob. It's all catered directly to the person who's actually looking at your site, which is pretty darn cool. So you can see why, like if you've ever gone out there and looked for partners for advertising, you can see why this is so cool, because that takes all of that work out of it. You don't have to negotiate with partners. You don't have to find partners. You don't have to have a situation where when somebody clicks, you only get paid if they buy from somewhere else. All you need to do is create really interesting content, copy in some HTML from your free Google AdSense account, and as you start getting clicks, you start getting paid. I mean, it's a really cool way to make money. Now, a lot of you guys are going to be like, well, wait a minute, why have you waited till this long to actually tell me about AdSense? I want to do it right now. I want to start today. Well, the thing is, guys, this only works well if you're getting traffic to your website. It doesn't matter if I have AdSense posted all over my blog. I got to have visitors, right? Because not every visitor is going to click on my ads. And if I'm not getting visitors, I'm not getting clicks, and I'm not making money. So generally, I like you guys to build your blog and build a website and get a little traffic. And then when you've got that traffic, then we start throwing up some AdSense, and you can start making some money off of it. But I think another reason why this might be cool for you guys is if some of you guys have some sort of expertise in an area, right? Maybe you know a whole lot about gardening, or maybe you're an expert at computer repair, or maybe you know a whole lot about finance, because that would be me, right? This is my college education right here. I'm able to blog about it. If you have something that you know something about or are passionate about, you can blog about it, and you can make money off of it through your AdSense. And there's a lot of people that make a living off of just AdSense alone, and off of a passion for creating content about something they're interested in. Happens all the time. Okay, let me look back to your guys' questions here for a sec. So on the blog, we have to create a page for the ad section, just like an About Us page. So no, Catherine, what you usually do to create your ads is you can have 3 ad units per page. Okay, so like for example, let me see if I can show you an example of this. I can't remember which pages I have that have a ton of ads on them. Hold on, I'm trying to find a page where I've got more than just one ad. Oh, anyway. Oh, well, here's a good example. Check out this page. All right, what's the topic of the article here? You guys know who Dave Ramsey is? It says Dave Ramsey says that going into debt for school is never a good idea. Who knows who Dave Ramsey is? He's a famous finance guy, right? He's on the radio. You ever listen to the radio, like an AM? He's on AM radio, teaches about how to handle your money, finances. Anyway, so this article right here is written all about school and debt. Well, guess what? Look what kind of ad is showing up here on the left. Would you say that ad is catered to the content that's on my page? Would you say this ad is something that maybe a potential reader of this page would be interested in? You've got pay for student tuition. You've got refinance student loans, private student loans. You see these ads? Yeah, definitely, right? And what's so cool about this is I have no relationship to any of these companies, none whatsoever. But I'm going to make money off of this click, which, by the way, I can't click on it myself. If I ever got caught clicking on my own ads, I would get kicked off of AdSense in a second. So don't ever click on your own ads. Just word to the wise. But this is all exactly related to my content here. And that's what's so cool about this. I didn't have to organize any of that at all. So when you create, so back to your question, Catherine, you don't create a page for your ads. You make your ads show up within your page, within different pages of your site. So I only have ads on this specific blog. I only have ads right here on the left-hand side. Okay. On every single one of my pages, my ads show up here on the left-hand side. On other blog posts, I've actually had some ads show up right here at the top of it. Sometimes I'll build ads into the middle of the page. The nitty-gritty on how to actually do that, Catherine, will teach in a more technical session on AdSense. I'll teach you all about it. We may do that when I get back in early September. And you can learn about it too. If you go to google.com/AdSense and create an account, they have tutorials that'll walk you right through how to create it. So my advice for you guys, if you have any interest in doing Google AdSense, go create an account today. It's google.com/AdSense. And you need to have a website though. So if you don't have a website right now, wait to do it. If you've got a blog or you've got an idea for a website, then this might be one of the ways we want to make money off of that site, okay? I'll log into my AdSense account real quick on this specific one. And I'll just show you kind of what the interface looks like, and then we'll finish up. So here's my AdSense account, okay? Here's kind of like the dashboard. Right now I've got a current balance right here. Now, by the way, so my balance is up to $747 on this account. You can't pay yourself out from this until you reach $100. And whenever I reach a certain balance that I like, I can do it one of two ways. I can have Google actually send me a check for $747, or I can create a direct transfer into a bank account. I can do it that way as well. I don't know why. In the past, I've just elected to have Google write checks, and it's actually pretty cool when you get in the mail a check and the employer there is Google. That's kind of neat to have Google write you a check, right? Well, that has to accumulate to over $100 before you ever get paid out. And there's some statistics here and some analytics on what shows you which ad units are performing best. There's a lot of information here. We'll get into this later. But this is google.com/AdSense to go set all this up, okay? But like I said, if you don't have a site yet, don't do it. Think about and work with your coach on what a niche should be for this. And you could actually do a separate informational site, totally different from your e-commerce, totally different from your blog associated with your e-commerce. You could just do something on the side on your own that you're passionate about, pull in some AdSense and make money off of it as a blog. Work with your coach if you've got some interest on doing that. But if you're in the beginning stages of your business, keep in mind I've kept this from you and I haven't shared this with you because if you want to make good money doing this, you have to know how to get a website up and you have to know how to do a little bit of marketing. And those are things that we usually teach as we go. A lot of you guys who've been in the program with me for a while, you have a website, you have a blog, you've been doing marketing. I would be very comfortable with you getting involved with AdSense because there's a lot of money to be made there, okay? Okay, wow, that went a lot longer than I wanted it to. This was supposed to be a simple intro. Do you guys feel like, though, you understand what Google AdSense is and how that works? Or at least how the money flow works, how it's associated with Google AdWords? Is that all a little more clear in your mind? Good. Most of you guys are saying yes, and if you're thinking no, email me and we'll talk about it. We'll do some follow-up webinars on this too. And yes, to answer your question, Cheryl, you can blog about absolutely anything and make money using AdSense. My wife, for example, she actually has a blog just kind of about our family and what we do, and just for friends and family to keep up on. She's installed a little AdSense onto hers, and she's made money over time. Maybe just a few $100 is all, but that's a few $100 she wouldn't have made otherwise had she not put the AdSense ads on the site, right? People who are more serious about it are of course making much more than a few $100, but she just blogs for fun, and you know, hey, a couple extra $100, who doesn't want that, right? Okay, Cindy, I know you're not ready yet. We'll get there, no doubt about it. I think you guys who haven't done this before are going to like it. In my experience, just being online, this strategy has probably made me just about as much as I've made with any other strategy. So I've got a lot of passion for AdSense. I think it's something that can really work. And no, Cheryl, you could create an entirely separate blog, make it about a topic that you love and you want to write about, and you could connect AdSense to it. This can be related to your core business, or you could do this as something entirely different. It's up to you. I mean, after all, guys, I sell jewelry, and I make money selling some movie memorabilia and some different things, and then I have a finance blog that's not even remotely related to those things. But that's all part of my internet business. Okay? And yeah, Barbara, putting it on each of your blog posts is a good idea. Barbara's got a blog right now that she's doing some AdSense on. In your case, Barbara, our big issue is we got to get more traffic to that site if we're going to want to start making it, make sense to us and make money. All right, great session, guys. I hope you enjoyed that. I'm looking forward to our next one. We'll maybe keep working AdSense together, which would be fun. I'd like to take you through a series of, and maybe we can even do this. Maybe I can set up a website with you kind of in these webinars and show you how I would go about doing it. So you can see it firsthand. I mean, it's one thing for me just to show you my site that's been up for 8-9 years, right? But it would be cool to maybe show you one and just do one together in the webinar. I'll have to think about that. Okay. All right, guys. Until next time, right? Next session officially is Thursday, not next week, not the week after, and not even the week after that. Then our next session is Thursday, September 10th. Put that in your calendar, okay? Thursday, September 10th. And then Friday, September 11th will be the next eBay one. Okay, we'll do eBay tomorrow, but that'll be the next one after it, okay? All righty, everybody, see you later. We will see you soon. Thanks again.